Giants, the word alone sends a chill down the spine, conjuring visions of colossal figures striding across ancient landscapes, their footsteps thundering like earthquakes, their shadows engulfing entire villages. But what if these weren't mere fables whispered around flickering campfires? What if the earth itself is a vast tomb, hiding the bones of 12-foot humans scattered worldwide? Bones that have been unearthed, examined, and then mysteriously reburied in the annals of forgotten history. Tonight, we delve into the depths of this enigma. We sift through legends that span continents, archaeological finds that defy explanation, scientific theories that bend the boundaries of possibility, and the shadowy cover-ups that keep the truth locked away. Join me as we follow the trail of these titans, the giants who walked here, and discover why their existence could rewrite everything we know about our past. Picture the dawn of human storytelling where myths were born from the raw edges of memory. Every culture, from the frozen steppes of Siberia to the sun-scorched sands of Egypt, carries tales of these enormous beings. In the Bible, they are the Nephilim, enigmatic giants born from the union of fallen angels and mortal women. Genesis 6:4 proclaims, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown." These weren't benevolent overseers, they were disruptors, their immense size symbolizing their insatiable appetites and destructive power. The Book of Numbers heightens the dread. Israelite spies sent to scout the Promised Land return trembling, reporting the Anakim, descendants of the Nephilim, as so towering that we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. The apocryphal Book of Enoch, unearthed in the Dead Sea Scrolls, escalates the horror, depicting them as 300 cubits tall, roughly 450 feet, ravaging the land until divine intervention bound them in subterranean prisons. Were these stories moral warnings, or veiled recollections of a race that once coexisted with our ancestors? Travel back to Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, where Sumerian tablets from 4000 BCE etch tales of the Anunnaki, celestial giants who descended from the stars to extract gold and mold humanity into servants. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest surviving works of literature, portrays the king himself as a semi-divine colossus, battling Humbaba, a giant guardian of the cedar forest whose roar could split the earth and whose body was armored in 7 layers of terror. In ancient Egypt, the gods were often illustrated as towering figures. Osiris, the lord of the afterlife, was said to be of such stature that his dismembered parts formed the basis of the Nile's fertility. Hieroglyphs in the Temple of Dendera show elongated beings, perhaps echoes of these giants, overseeing rituals with hands that could crush stone. The Greeks wove giants into the very fabric of their cosmos. Hesiod's Theogony describes the Titans as primordial forces, Cronus wielding a sickle to castrate his father Uranus, his form so vast it held the weight of time itself. The Gigantomachy, immortalized in Pergamon friezes, depicts the gods warring against earthborn giants who piled Pelion on Ossa to storm Olympus. The Cyclopes, with their singular, fiery eye, forged thunderbolts for Zeus and constructed the massive Cyclopean walls of Mycenae, boulders fitted without mortar, stones weighing tons that baffle modern archaeologists. How did Bronze Age builders move them? The ancients knew, only giants could. In the icy realms of Scandinavia, the Norse Edda's pulse with Jotun lore. Ymir, the primeval frost giant, was slain by Odin and his brothers, his flesh becoming the land, his blood the oceans, his skull the dome of the sky. The prose Edda recounts Thor's encounters with Utgard Loki, a giant so immense that the god mistook his drinking horn for the sea and his cat for the Midgard serpent. Celtic myths from the Emerald Isle speak of the Fomorians, grotesque sea giants with one eye, one arm, and one leg, invading from the Atlantic mists, their leader Balor unleashing a gaze that withered armies like autumn leaves. Finn McCool, the legendary Irish warrior, was a giant in his own right, hurling a piece of Ulster across the sea to form the Isle of Man, his boot print etched into the landscape as a testament to his scale. Asia's ancient epics are replete with colossal confrontations. India's Mahabharata features Ghatotkach, a half-demon giant whose battlefield roar shook the heavens, and Kumbhakarna, who slumbered for 6 months only to awaken and devour entire armies with clubs the size of trees. The Ramayana's Hanuman grew to mountainous proportions to leap across the sea to Lanka, his tail a fiery whip. In China, the Shanhai Jing catalogues mythical giants like Qiaofu, who chased the sun across the sky, dying of thirst but leaving rivers in his wake. Japanese folklore has the Oni, horned demons 12 feet tall, rampaging through villages with iron clubs, their red skin and wild hair striking fear into samurai hearts. Africa's rich oral traditions harbor tales of the Wakahuru, towering beings who taught the secrets of fire and metallurgy to early tribes. The Dogon people of Mali speak of the Namo, amphibious giants from the star Sirius, who brought cosmic knowledge in fish-like ships. South African Zulu legends describe the Nzuzu, massive figures who shaped the Drakensberg Mountains with their bare hands, their footsteps forming valleys that still echo with wind. Across the Atlantic, Native American lore is steeped in giant narratives. The Iroquois tell of the stone giants, cannibalistic colossi who hurled boulders in tribal wars. The Paiute of the American Southwest recount the Sitka, red-haired giants 10 feet tall who kidnapped and ate villagers until the tribes united to trap them in a cave and set it ablaze with flaming arrows. The Cherokee's Sul Kalu, the slant-eyed giant, lurked in the Appalachians, his club felling trees with a single swing. In South America, the Mapuche of Chile speak of the Traco, but deeper myths have the Pilin volcanic giants whose anger spewed lava. The Inca revered Viracocha, a tall, bearded wanderer who created the sun and moon, teaching civilization before vanishing into the Pacific. Oceania's islands preserve similar whispers. The Maori of New Zealand describe Te Kahui Tipua, enormous beings who molded the rugged terrain, their canoes the size of hills. Aboriginal Australians' dreamtime includes the Yowie, hairy giants roaming the bush, their footprints deep imprints in red soil. In the Solomon Islands, indigenous people report the Mu or Ruda, living giants 15 feet tall with long arms and protruding brows, raiding villages for pigs and tools under the cover of night. But legends are the spark. The true fire lies in the physical evidence, dug from the dirt by shovels and brushes. In 1911, miners harvesting guano in Lovelock Cave, Nevada, stumbled upon a trove that sent shockwaves through anthropology. Mummified bodies 7 to 8 feet tall, some estimates pushing 10, with reddish hair still clinging to leathery skin, massive jaws, and double rows of teeth. Accompanying artifacts included intricately woven baskets scaled for huge hands, 15-inch leather sandals, and duck decoys twice the normal size. The Paiute legends aligned perfectly. The Sitka had been real, their reign of terror ending in that very cave. The Nevada State Historical Society photographed and documented the finds, displaying some in museums until the 1930s. Then, inexplicably, they vanished into storage vaults, officials dismissing them as tall Native Americans or mismeasurements. Casts of footprints and hair samples remain, analyzed in private labs showing unusual pigmentation, red hair not typical of local tribes. Move to the mound builders of North America's Midwest, enigmatic cultures that dotted the landscape with earthen pyramids from 1000 BCE to 1500 CE. In 1879, Smithsonian excavators in an Ohio mound uncovered skeletons averaging 8 feet, buried with copper armor, mica sheets, and pearl necklaces, artifacts suggesting advanced trade networks. The New York Times on December 4, 1898, detailed a Wisconsin grave yielding a 9-foot giant with a skull circumference of 31 inches, the bones shipped to Chicago for study. In Illinois, 1891, farmers plowing a field hit a burial chamber with 7-foot skeletons clutching stone axes too heavy for average grip strength. The Smithsonian's annual reports from the late 1800s catalog over 1,000 such anomalous finds, including groups of 12-footers in Tennessee mounds. Then, under curator Alois H. Hrdlicka's regime starting in 1910, the records dried up. H. Hrdlicka, a staunch advocate of the Bering Strait migration theory, allegedly ordered the destruction or reclassification of impossible specimens to avoid complicating the narrative of Native American origins. Southward to Patagonia, a land of extremes where explorers encountered living legends. Ferdinand Magellan in 1520 described the Tehuelche as so tall that his crew reached only their waists, capturing 2 who died chained on the voyage home. Antonio Pigafetta, the expedition's chronicler, noted their voices like bulls and feet so large the name Patagonia means Bigfoot in Spanish. In 1766, Captain John Byron of HMS Dolphin measured one at 9 feet, his account published in London journals. Charles Darwin aboard the Beagle in 1834 remarked on their extraordinary stature, averaging 7 feet. Archaeological digs in Tierra del Fuego caves from the late 1800s uncovered skeletons up to 7 feet 6 inches, with robust limb bones indicating even greater height in life. In 1898, Argentine explorer Francisco Moreno discovered a 10-foot skeleton in a cave near Lake Nahuel Huapi, complete with stone tools scaled for giant hands. The remains were sent to the La Plata Museum, but public access is restricted, photographs scarce, fueling speculation of suppression. Europe's ancient sites yield their own colossal secrets. In Sardinia, the Nuragic civilization's tombs of the giants are elongated burial chambers up to 30 meters long, designed for collective interment. Excavations in 1974 at Mont Prama revealed over 5,000 fragments of stone statues, warriors, boxers, and archers standing 8 to 9 feet tall, with disc-shaped eyes and horned helmets. The associated skeletons averaged 6 feet 6 inches, some reaching 7 feet, with cranial deformations that suggest either artificial binding for status or natural genetic traits for height. Italian archaeologists in 2014 unearthed more tombs, finding oversized bronze weapons and votive figures depicting elongated bodies. Local folklore of the Janas, giant fairy women weaving golden threads in hidden grottos, aligns with these finds. In England, medieval chronicler Geoffrey of Monmouth claimed in his 1136 History of the Kings of Britain that the island was once inhabited by giants, defeated by Brutus the Trojan. The Long Man of Wilmington, a 235-foot chalk figure on a hillside, may represent one such being. French alignments at Karnak with 3,000 standing stones are attributed in legend to petrified giants marching to war. Asia's excavations continue to surprise. In India's Uttar Pradesh, 2004 digs by the Archaeological Survey of India uncovered 7-foot skeletons from the Harappan era around 1700 BCE, buried with pottery etched with tall, stylized figures. In China's Shandong province, 2016 excavations at a Longshan culture site, circa 2500 BCE, revealed tombs with 8-foot skeletons accompanied by jade axes and ceremonial daggers too large for standard use. Mongolian steppes in 2009 yielded Scythian graves with 7-foot warriors, their horses buried beside them as if for a giant's mount. Africa's sands and jungles hold similar mysteries. In 1936, German explorer Leo Frobenius reported discovering 12-foot skeletons in the Congo Basin, described in his journals as human-like but of unprecedented scale, though mainstream academia dismissed it as exaggeration or misidentification of ape bones. South African Bushman rock art in the Drakensberg Mountains, dating back 2,000 years, depicts tall, slender figures hunting alongside normal-sized humans, their proportions elongated beyond artistic license. Now let's turn to the science that bridges myth and reality. Gigantism is a documented medical condition, caused by overproduction of growth hormone from pituitary tumors. Historical cases include Robert Pershing Wadlow, the tallest verified man at 8 feet 11 inches, who died in 1940 from complications of his size. Acromegaly, a related disorder, enlarged features in figures like Andre the Giant, standing 7 feet 4 inches. But could entire populations exhibit this? Evolutionary biology suggests yes, through genetic isolation or environmental factors. Island gigantism seen in species like the Komodo dragon could apply to humans in secluded regions. Fossil records show Gigantopithecus, a 9-foot ape from southern China, coexisting with early Homo species until 100,000 years ago, close enough for interbreeding theories. A 2017 study in Nature on ancient DNA revealed intermingling between modern humans and Denisovans, a robust hominid group with larger statures. Elongated skulls from Paracas, Peru, analyzed in 2014, showed mitochondrial DNA not matching known human haplogroups, hinting at hybrid origins with taller traits. Metabolic challenges for giants would be immense, requiring 5,600 calories daily, hearts pumping against gravity's pull, bones denser to avoid fractures. Yet, in resource-rich environments like pre-flood river valleys, they could thrive. Why then the veil of silence? Conspiracy theories point to institutional gatekeeping. The Smithsonian Institution, founded in 1846, collected thousands of giant skeletons in the 19th century, as per their own publications. Then, under Alois H. Hrdlicka, a Czech anthropologist obsessed with a single origin theory for Native Americans, anomalous finds were reclassified or destroyed. Jim Vieira and Hugh Newman's book, Giants on Record, compiles over 1,500 newspaper articles from 1850–1920 detailing giant discoveries, all forwarded to Washington, never to resurface. A 1912 New York Times article describes a 12-foot skeleton from a New York mound, complete with artifacts, vanished into the archives. Freedom of Information Act requests for these records are routinely denied, citing no responsive documents or national security. Odd for old bones. Modern sightings add fuel. In the Solomon Islands, anthropologist Marius Boirian in the 1990s interviewed villagers who described 15-foot hairy giants stealing from gardens, footprints 20 inches long pressed into mud. In Afghanistan's Kandahar province, 2002, U.S. Special Forces allegedly encountered a 13-foot red-haired giant in a cave, armed with a spear, killing one soldier before being gunned down. The body was airlifted out, the incident classified, leaked only through anonymous podcasts. Contemporary archaeology keeps the mystery alive. In 2008, Greek archaeologists on Lesbos Island unearthed a 9-foot 2-inch skeleton from 700 BCE, buried with honor. In 2015, Bulgaria's Varna necropolis revealed a 7-foot Thracian warrior with a gold wreath. In 2019, Georgia's The Country Bronze Age site yielded 8-foot skeletons with elongated crania. In 2020, Romanian caves near Sarmizegetusa disclosed 12-foot bones carbon-dated to 30,000 BCE. LiDAR scans in the Amazon rainforest uncovered geoglyphs and pyramids too grand for standard human engineering, suggesting larger builders. Imagine a day in their world: a 12-foot hunter stalking mammoths, his spear 30 feet long, piercing hides with ease. Their communities might have been hierarchical, with giants as rulers or shamans, smaller humans as laborers. Megalithic sites like Stonehenge, with 25-ton bluestones dragged 150 miles, or Baalbek's 1,650-ton trilithon stones, scream superhuman effort. Climate shifts, post-ice age, rising seas, droughts could have doomed them, their small populations vulnerable to extinction events or conflicts, like the biblical David felling Goliath with a slingshot. Skeptics counter with hoaxes. The Cardiff giant of 1869, a gypsum carving buried for profit. Many elongated skulls result from cranial binding, a cultural practice in ancient Peru and Egypt. Mismeasurements abound, bones elongate in graves due to soil pressure. Yet not all can be dismissed. DNA from some Paracas skulls shows unknown lineages, European markers in pre-Columbian America. Casts from Lovelock and Patagonia hold up under scrutiny, proportions human but scaled. As we conclude this journey, remember, the giants walked here. Their evidence is buried worldwide, from cave mummies to mound burials, legends to lab tests. They challenge our small view of history, suggesting we are not the first or the tallest to claim this planet. Next time you stand beneath an ancient monolith or gaze at a starry sky, wonder, what if their blood still flows in us? The past isn't dead, it's just taller than we imagine. Dig deeper, question more, and perhaps you'll hear their footsteps echoing still.